Welcome to the ET Studio series on AI-powered HR in action, unlocking workforce potential, brought to you by ETHRWorld in association with Strada. Now, as AI reshapes the enterprise landscape, HR is at the epicenter of transformation. With the help of AI, HR is rapidly evolving from being a support function to a strategic driver for business growth, organizational resilience, and workforce agility. In this thought leadership series, we will feature conversations with some of the top CHROs in India across diverse sectors and showcase how they are leveraging AI to drive measurable business outcomes, reimagine workforce strategies, and build a future-ready organization. Beyond technology, we will explore the human, strategic, and governance dimensions of AI in HR with the aim to bring you practical insights and peer-led learning for HR leaders navigating their AI journey. In this first episode, we will focus on HR transformation with AI and to decode how AI can help organizations unlock the real strategic value in HR. We have an illustrious panel comprising of leading HR and business leaders. I have with me Amit Chincholikar, Group President HR at Hinduja Group, Sudakshina Bhattacharya, President and CHRO, HDFC ERGO General Insurance, Colin Brennan, CEO Strada, and Anirban Das, Vice President, Asia Pacific and Middle East, Strada. A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here.
Now, before we get into the crux of the discussion, let's warm up a little. I have a few rapid fire questions to set the ball rolling. So, Sudakshina, how would you describe in one word your AI in HR journey?
Embedded.
What about you, Amit?
One word is difficult, but I'd say we are in the first trimester of a baby that's going to be born. So we're excited, we are happy, but we're also extremely scared.
Colin, what about you?
I would say operationalizing. So we're getting it into our systems, into our organization, and starting to roll things out.
Anirban?
As we see clients and internally, we are leveraging AI in every aspect of the business.
That was a very interesting and quick rapid fire round. Now, getting into the crux of the discussion, Sudakshina, I want to start with you. How have you seen HR move beyond efficiency to delivering real business impact through AI?
A lot of analytics that helps us to take decisions proactively.
Amit, what about you?
I think tailoring engagement journeys and learning journeys for people.
Colin, what do you see among your customers?
I would say talent management. So how we find people, attract people, things like that. AI is helping quite a bit.
Anirban, what is that one decision that AI is already making in most of the organizations in HR?
I would say payroll anomaly detection. So we use a lot of payroll anomaly detection to see if there are overtime, if employees are paid accurately, if there is a deviation in tax calculation. So lots around payroll anomaly.
Okay. Sudakshina, last round of questions. What is that one HR capability that you need to build to stay relevant?
I'll build on what I said. So it is analytical empathy. Because I do feel that a lot of work that we do is driven by the decision that one makes, and it ultimately translates into the human experiences.
Amit, what is that one ability?
So I think it's placing technology at the heart of people, not the other way around.
Okay. Colin, what is that one HR capability that organizations need to have in place urgently?
I think it's data understanding. And so that we've definitely seen the AI runs better as the data is more solid and foundational.
Anirban?
I'd say orchestration, human orchestration. So AI comes with a lot of analytics, and orchestrating that is what is front and center.
So that was quite interesting. Let's dive deeper into the crux of the discussion now. So Dakshina, starting with you, where have you seen HR move beyond efficiency to deliver strategic business impact through AI?
Sometime back, we had come across a study that McKinsey had done and how AI can really amplify the human experiences that employees can have in an organization. We've seen efficiencies, definitely, like I said, that the way we look at data and how it gives us insights, which helps us to build proactively on the experiences that we want our employees to have. We are a geographically dispersed organization. it's imperative for us that whatever we do at the center, that reaches to the employees at the last mile. And we've seen snippets, it may be early signs, but we've seen technology really helping, especially AI. We also have a tool which is about employee experiences, where we connect with the employees at different milestones. So it helps us to proactively understand where they are, and therefore what is it that we can do. It also helps us to have different cuts and cohorts, and therefore tailor-make solutions for them. I think if I were to sum up to say that the areas where we have seen AI really making HR more efficient in our organization will be like, I think it's moved us from the HR function from hindsight to foresight. So I think that's something that's definitely something that we can see at this point of time.
Amit, what we are seeing is that AI is drastically changing what the leadership, what the board expects from HR. So how is AI changing what the business expects from HR in terms of both leadership and board level?
So maybe I can talk about 3 levers that I think is driving this change. One is agility. I would say the second is flexibility and adaptability, and the third is governance. So agility means that now a lot of time that otherwise was spent on analytics has gotten freed up thanks to AI. So I think what the board and leadership seek, therefore, is good sound judgment. So we are now expected to take decisions rather than spending a lot more time crunching data. So I think that's the one piece around, I would say, agility. A large part of agility also comes from responsiveness, right? So it allows you to make sure that you are able to come back and respond to situations, people, circumstances proactively a lot more now compared to what it was earlier. If you were to talk about flexibility and adaptability, I think the sense is that this is a transformation journey of the type that we may not have seen before. So what that means is, the questions earlier were that do we have the right set of people? The questions now that are being asked is, do we have the right set of skills? So therefore, I think the conversation has really changed around what is it that we are doing to enable people to be able to embrace the change that technology in general and AI in specific is bringing to the workplace. So I think that's a very significant shift from what it was earlier. Governance earlier primarily focused on ethics and making sure that things are done the right way. But with so many dimensions of AI coming in, it's not just about ethics in people and behavior, but it's about ethics in data. So who has access to what? How is it that you are able to look at information? And where that becomes really important is, at the end of the day, we must remember that AI gets better with usage. But that if it starts with an inherent element of bias, then that bias only gets amplified through AI and through automation. So I think the responsibility of governance as the conscience keeper, earlier, like I said, it just involved actions, it involved behaviors, and it involved data. Now it also involves AI. So AI has almost become another key constituency for HR to be able to talk about, along with people. So I would say these are 3 key dimensions around which the expectations from the function are changing, from the leadership in specific and the boards in general.
Right. Colin, while we see that the AI ambition is at an all-time high, but are there still gaps between the AI ambition and HR transformation? So where are these gaps right now?
Yeah, so I think everybody is looking to use AI, and it's definitely what people are focused in on. 2 things that I see that really get in the way of kind of really good AI outcomes. So one is that the use case and the business output and what you're looking to do with it. And so having a really defined set of outcomes that you're looking to get to, especially as you think about the board and the interactions and the payback on the investment in those things, and a good set of metrics to kind of show you whether you're on the right path. Here's what we're doing, here's what we're trying to get to, these are the results, these are the outcomes. And so those are really important to get kind of buy-in and support in that level of engagement. The second one is you've got to have a really good system of data. And so what we see often in our customers is where you've got very fragmented systems. So an HCM system, a learning system, a different payroll system across 12 countries. It's really hard to bring that data together. And as my colleague just said, the AI runs better when you have the data in one place and as it gets more strong with that. So being able to get that cohesively together, having a unified set of systems that can bring it together, it gives you that foundation that you need to really get to the outcomes and the results that people are looking for in the AI space.
Yeah. Sudakshina, back to you. We are seeing a lot of use cases of HR leveraging AI. In your organization in particular, how are you leveraging AI specifically in workforce planning and organizational design?
So, capability is really the new currency for growth. And if we stay with that philosophy, then it clearly today is an invitation to move away from just workforce estimation to capability orchestration. And how does one steer the organization towards that? So it's no more about where are we going to reach in terms of manpower numbers or manpower costs, but it's about what is the skill landscape for tomorrow? What is it that the organization needs for tomorrow, and where are we in that situation? And I think this is one thing where we've been able to take, I would say, reasonably good steps with one of our partners whom we work, on an AI tool, like I was talking about a little while ago. It's about experience. So this helps us to identify the gaps in even if it's a small cohort, it's a small town, it's a small vertical, it's a small team, but there is a significant skill gap that we can identify through this tool. And that is very important for a business like ours, where large part of our growth is also happening in the tier 4, tier 5 cities in India. And it's not easy to physically really understand from numbers, but this tool really helps us to identify that particular city has a particular gap in the sales force of this kind. And hence, it helps us to then look at the capability building initiatives or programs for that cohort in specific. Broad brushing, one size fits all, all of that is obviously of yesterday. But this creating customized capability development initiatives to really impact where it's needed is an area where we've seen, I would say, reasonable amount of success in org design. Also, it helps us to kind of somewhere plot that, because there are interdependence between functions in a business like ours. So if there is a particular geography which has been looked at as a new geography, then what are some of the other ecosystems that we need to develop to be able to support that entry into the new geography? There also we've seen that a tool based on AI has been quite beneficial.
Especially, I think organizations are now moving towards a lot of emphasis on skill development and matching the right skills to the right requirement. So the example that you gave is particularly, emphasizes on how AI can help in that.
Yeah, I mean, Amit just mentioned about, like, if we are not looking at, if there's not a big team looking at analytics, then that team needs to be redeployed to do something more meaningful. So this reskilling journey is something that we've undertaken, and like I said, is quite relevant for our business. This is something that we've undertaken, and our AI tool really helps us to leverage on this.
Yeah, that's great. Amit, do you think AI is fundamentally changing the HR operating models? And if so, how?
So look, I think we have these waves of something that always comes along and fundamentally changes the way you do it, right? And I think we've got to sometimes step back and ask the question, what is HR about? Right? HR is in the business of people, right? At the end of the day, that is your biggest currency that you have. So what it really is altering, if you look at the AI landscape as it's coming through, is that it really offers an opportunity to rethink how is it that we are able to leverage the best of this currency, which is called people, not just for the benefit of organizations, but I would say society at large, as well as for the development of people themselves. So if you were to kind of look at that landscape, I'd like to put it down in 3 parts. It's very important to know what is it that you're trying to change, A, and why are you trying to change it. So what is the problem you're trying to solve? And the way I see it is that in a lot of ways, the way the narrative is changing is that anything that you do or people do with their hands, AI can actually replace. Because it's predictable, it's repetitive, you know what can be done next. Anything that you do with your mind or your brain, AI will augment. So you've obviously got to have a hypothesis, and therefore you've got to rethink, but augmentation comes much better with AI. But anything that you do with your heart is almost difficult to replicate, AI or no AI, whichever way you look at it. So the fundamental operating model, in my view, is coming back to saying what is it that can be replaced, what is it that can be augmented, and what is it that never changes. Because at the end of the day, large-scale change impacts people collectively, but it impacts every individual differently. So I think the responsibility of any HR model is to be able to address how is it that every individual gets impacted by it and influences, how shall I say, its adaptability. So like I said, it's a simple principle. What is it that you replace? What is it that you augment? And what is it that will never happen? And in my view, if any HR operating model, no matter what technology you deploy, considers these three factors, very often you will find that success rates fit in there, because that is something that people can identify with. I'm saying this at the risk of repeating myself. Technology is at the heart of people, not the other way around.
You've hit the nail on the head, especially now when there is so much of talk, so much of discussions across the world about AI versus human. I think from what you said, the HR operating model has to work on AI and human and not one versus the other.
Yeah, so it's obviously you cannot compete. You must collaborate. And technology, or AI is a great colleague. It's a very hard taskmaster if it's your boss, but it's also a very good subordinate. So if you are able to train it to be able to need what exactly you're looking for, that's where I would say the heart of success lies in its deployment and in its implementation.
Right, very well said. Anirban, I would like to bring you into the conversation. And when we look at the HR foundation itself, that needs to be AI ready. So what makes this foundation AI ready in practice?
Great. I think the first core of it comes with unified data. So the entire AI or any AI engine would work on top of data. And you have to have a single unified data. You can have fragmented system, but there should be a source of truth for HR data. That's a very big aspect of laying the right foundation. The second aspect is you also have to ensure when you have data, there's right processes around it to ensure that there is a governance and process so that the data is accurate. Whether it is ensuring you're giving promotion, whether you're doing processes around transfers or anything around pay increases, there needs to be a proper governance or a process around it so that you ensure there is a control on the data. The third key aspect I would say is ensuring that the data should be auditable and it should be explainable. So it's very important that the data which is done, and especially in today's era with large workforce, you do tend to ensure that people start having biases. The manager can have biases, or even a certain leader can have biases. So you need to ensure that there is a proper auditable and explainable data. And these three aspects, to me, lays the right foundation in order for AI to work.
Right. And we are hearing a lot about data poisoning, wherein you have the biases creep into the modeling of based on the data, and that can actually completely change the outcome. So absolutely rightly said. I think it's very important that any HR transformation is built on the right quality of data. Great. So let me wrap up this conversation with asking each one of you what is that one key takeaway that you would like our audience to go back with. Sudakshina, starting with you, is there any one piece of advice that you would have that you would give HR leaders who are in their AI journey? Because you among some of the top CHROs are in the process of this journey already, and you have navigated this journey to quite an extent. So for those who are now in the process of starting, what is that one piece of advice?
No advice, but I can say what has worked for us so far and what we see could possibly also work is that it's important that we start with a human question. A couple of years ago, part of our strategy, we also said that a lot about the organizations like the iceberg, What the outside world really looks at or sees are the numbers, the profitability, the growth, the bigness and all of that, the brand. But what really works beneath are the values, are the human connections, is a followership, is people wanting to come to work. All of that is beneath. I think what the greatest offering that technology, AI or any of the other parts is that it keeps bringing us back to the basic, to say that it's important to first recognize that the person walking into the door in the organization is a human being. Then comes everything else. Then comes skill, then comes ability, then comes ticket number, then comes all of that. But I think we kind of we drift away a little bit, and we're like, okay, we're looking at efficiency, we're looking at optimization, we're looking at workforce planning, we're looking at resources and all of that. But I think it's a great time today to look at that basic recognition of a human being. We all want same things. I think people want to be heard, people want to be seen, and people want to be understood. I think that's what the primary role of HR always has been. And I don't think we could have been any more happy than where we are today, that all of this is being pronounced. Well-being, care, camaraderie, collaboration, all of these words today people are really wanting to live. And I think that will be something that I would leave our audience with, that go back and first recognize your colleague as a human being. And
Very well said. Amit, what about you? What is that one piece of advice you would give?
So actually not one, but I would say two.
Absolutely, the more the merrier.
Yeah, look, it's about what we do and it's about who we are, right, as a function. So who we are, I think, in my view, we are the custodians of three key principles. There is transparency, there is consistency, and there is fairness. And any deployment that you do, whatever transformation it may be, AI or otherwise, these cardinal principles is something that we must always ensure. Do people understand? They may not agree, but they must understand. And that comes from the principle of transparency, consistency, and fairness. So I think that's the first part. What we do, I think, we will have lots of data, we will have lots of information, there is lots of analytics. I think the key is to be able to join the dots to know a pattern. Because it's my firm belief that every number tells you a story. And if you understand the story, the numbers very often take care of themselves. So I think being able to understand the dots in your analytics journey before you arrive at a conclusion or a decision, I think is paramount, particularly in a technology-driven environment. So these are two things I would say.
Well said. Colin.
We talked a lot today about the humans and the humans that sit inside at the bottom of the AI journey. And as I look at our colleagues going through it, we have to remember it's a change process. And so for them, it's about understanding and getting the fear out of the way and helping know what it's going to be and those things. And so it sort of starts there. And I think the one big piece of advice that I've learned is in this era, it needs to be more bottoms up. And so I think in past initiatives, we started out really tops down and said, hey, here's the answer and here's what we're going to do and we're going to go do it. The power to me of the new tools we see out there is all of a sudden, the end user who really knows their process and knows what they're trying to do can take the tool and fix it for themselves. And that's something we haven't seen so far. And so that ability to do it from the bottoms up. And so in my mind, giving the organization the right tooling, giving them the frameworks so they use it safely, and taking away some of that fear to let them go after it, but then letting them find the use cases. Like I think if you sit around and wait for the C-suite to come up with the best use cases, you'll be sitting and looking for a very long time. But the people on the ground, they know what's hard and what they want to do. Giving them the tools and the power to go do that really changes the game. And that's what this technology, to me, is all about. That's the change that we haven't had in the past.
Right. Anirban, what is that one piece of advice you'd like to give?
What comes top of my mind is before you invest in AI, you should invest in data and laying the foundation right. If your data foundation is not right, then AI will just add to the chaos. And it is very important that we have done over 3,000 deployments, whether it's in Workday, SAP, Oracle. The big transformation which has happened, which I have seen, is the source of truth, especially across multiple countries. There's a long tail of countries with employee. It's very important to ensure that the data is there in a system and it's accurate before you invest further adding AI tools. Because all this would, once the data foundation is right, the analytics will flow in. HR and leaders can start interpreting and use that data to make decisions, and things will fall in place.
Yeah, because especially when I see it comes to large organizations with their workforce spread across geographies, it's very important that the data caters to the cultural aspect of each country that the workforce is based in, and therefore data becomes very critical. Thank you so much, everyone. It was a wonderful conversation, and I just want to summarize with one key takeaway for me, and that is, we are not only at a very opportune time in terms of AI, helping HR become a more strategic function, but it's also a very challenging time, because we are talking of bringing human and AI together. We might think that AI is the antithesis of human, but going forward, I think organizations will really need to look at AI complementing and augmenting human. So thank you so much for sharing all these insights and perspectives with us. Hope you have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a big thank you to our audience for joining us for this first episode of ET Studio series on AI-powered HR in action, unlocking workforce potential, brought to you by ETHRWorld in association with Strada. Thank you so much for watching.